Welcome to this special Italian wine podcast broadcast. This episode is a recording off Clubhouse, the popular drop-in audio chat. This Clubhouse session was taken from the Wine Business Club and Italian Wine Club. Listen in as wine lovers and experts alike engage in some great conversation on a range of topics in wine. And remember to subscribe and rate our show wherever you tune in.
Hi everybody! Italian Wine Podcast celebrates its 4th anniversary this year, and we all love the great content they put out every day. Chin with Italian wine people has become a big part of our day, and the team in Verona needs to feel our love. Producing the show is not easy, folks. Herding all those hosts, getting the interviews, dropping the Clubhouse recordings, not to mention editing all the material. Let's give them a tangible fan hug with a contribution to all their costs. Head to ItalianWinePodcast.com and click donate to show your love.
Welcome to Italian Wine Clubhouse. My name is Joy Livingston. This Clubhouse room, Italian Wine Club, happens every Thursday at 8 p.m. And I am here with Laika, so she will let me know if I forget anything. Stevie, yay!
Hi. How are you? I'm here actually with Steve Ray. So, Joy, you take it away. Ciao, Roberto. And congratulations, Ciro Pirone. Yes!
Ciao.
Ciao, ragazzi.
Ciao a tutti.
Okay, so shut up now. Joe, you take it away.
All right.
Listening in.
All right, okay. So let me just start by saying, the idea behind Ambassador's Corner is to give Italian wine ambassadors and wine lovers the opportunity to interview their favorite producers. And interviewees can ask producers questions to their heart's content, and then at the end of the discussion, listeners will be given a chance to ask questions and participate in the discussion. If you are an Italian wine ambassador in any way, this could be just a hardcore wine lover, and you have always wanted to interview a producer here in Italy, you can always just contact Laika through social media, at Ita Wine Podcast, or go to www.italianwinepodcast.com. And this session is recorded, and it will be released on the Italian Wine Podcast, probably on a Thursday, in the coming Thursdays. This is to reach more listeners, especially for those who can't participate because they're in some weird place around the world, time zones. So let me briefly introduce our guest host for this evening. He is going to be, his name is Ciro Pirone, and he will be interviewing Roberto Di Meo. And I will let him go ahead and introduce Roberto when he's about to conduct his interview. But Ciro, he is the director of Italian wines for Horizon Beverage Company and a Vinitaly International Academy Italian wine ambassador. He grew up here in Italy. We're in Verona, of course, as you all possibly know. And he has worked and traveled through England, Italy, and the U.S. And he's been based in the U.S. since 1999 and completed wine studies at Boston University, International Sommelier Guild, WSET, Wine Scholar Guild, North American Sommelier Association, and I'm sure there's more, but I'm going to say welcome, Ciro.
Thank you, Joy. Thank you, Stevie, Laika, and obviously Roberto for being here. Before I get going with the questions, obviously I want to introduce Roberto Di Meo. For people who are not familiar with him, he's the co-owner of Azienda Agricola Di Meo, as well as being the president of Asso Enology for Campania, also a member of the board of directors of Asso Enology and presidential committee, and a wine consultant. And in 1986, together with his brothers, he founded Di Meo Winery in the heart of Irpinia, specifically in the production area of Fiano di Avellino. He is the enologist for the winery, as well as the sales director, and since the early 2000s has been conducting a variety of experimental projects in the area, more specifically aimed at the refinery of Irpinian white grape varieties, such as Fiano and Greco most importantly. Today, this production is called Linea del Tempo Di Meo. Together with his brother Generoso, for around 20 years, he has been an ambassador for the combination of art, photography, and wine in Irpinia, which is also something I've found very, very fascinating and together they've developed a sort of calendar which we'll also talk about. So Roberto, how are you? Welcome, and are you ready?
Yes, Ciro, I'm ready. Thank you.
Wonderful. So the first question I wanted to ask you is an introductory question so that we can all get familiarized with the region you're in. Can you please give us an introduction in your own words, this very special place, at least to me, called Irpinia, and what everybody should know about it?
Okay, Ciro, I'm sorry for all because my English is a pizza and mandolino style. And, I'm sorry for this. Let's start with some numbers. About 2,000 hectares dedicated to wine produce, a little less than 250 bottling companies, 1,000 wine growers, 3 DOCG wines, which is added a large provincial DOP, for a total of about 30 certified type, and a little more than 275,000 hectoliters of wine produced. These are, in a short, the number that tell the Irpinia wine. Most of the farma in this territory are very small, the vast majority of which have a production of less than 50,000 bottles per year. Historical, they give their grapes to the bottlers. The varietal picture is extremely composite, a typical feature of Campania region. Among the red-berried grapes, Aglianico dominates, sometimes flanked by Generoso, Generoso, Sangiovese, Mantonico. This is typical of our region, with marginal space for international grapes such as Cabernet Sauvignon and Merlot. Fiano and Greco, as you tell, are the group leaders for the wide varied varieties. In the last year, the plots cultivated with foxtail, Falangina, and other rare cultivars such as Greco Musk have had a significant increase. This is the more vision about our region, our territory.
Yes, actually, your answer made it quite clear. It answers why there are more wineries out there, because there are several, but they're small in size, and overall production is very small, and the wineries tend to be quite small, but the quality overall is always very high, in my opinion. I think you're really fortunate to work with Irpinia's native grapes, as you mentioned, Greco, Fiano, and Aglianico, and a lot more. When it comes to the actual cellar and the vinification aspect, what are the kind of yeasts that you use and the process of aging? Is that concrete, stainless steel, old barrels? What is your approach?
I use both. I use commercial yeast, tested and safe, which absolutely respect the varietal aspect of the different grape varieties, and a native yeast selected in my wine arts in collaboration with the University of Portici. For aging, I absolutely prefer steel, and I make limited use of wood, preferring large wood. So I do not use barrique, for instance.
Yes, that's actually fairly traditional as far as the use of partial wood, concrete, and stainless steel. That's great because it keeps the purity of the wines. Of course, the next question is about grapes. Greco from Tufo specifically, you have vineyards here in two specific towns, Santa Paolina and the other is Montefusco. Can you tell us what best defines the specific territories and the two different wines? as you produce two very different Greco di Tufos from there.
Okay. So, Ciro, the Greco di Tufo area is the smallest in terms of geographical extension, but also the largest in terms of volume of wine produced. It spreads over 8 municipalities entirely among the steep hills of the Valle del Sabato, where up to the beginning of the 19th there was one of the most important sulfur mining center, whole center of the south of Italy. Net of pedoclimatic condition, which are very different areas from area. In Montefusco, we are vineyards at the altitude of 750 meters, planted in 1998, with clay, calcareous soils and northeast exposure. The planting density is 3,500 wines per hectare, and the yields is of 50 quintals. In Santa Paolina, instead, at the altitude of 108 meters, 408 meters, we have a more varied soil, even if it is mainly calcareous clay. In this area, the vineyard was planted in 2007 with northwest exposure. We also have an yield on 70 quintals and a planting density of 4,000 wines per hectare. This difference, I think, that play a remarkable role on characteristic of grapes of the two Greco wines, which are also above all different from what concern aging of my production.
That's quite fascinating. Obviously, so it sounds like the two sites are quite different, elevation-wise, exposure-wise.
Yeah.
And I would assume maybe Montefusco is the one that is a bit more higher in acid and maybe more cooler temperatures overall due to the elevation,
yes.
right?
Yeah, sure.
That's great. So Fiano is probably my most favorite, I would say, as far as grape from Campania. Although there's a lot of many other great things, but I really found actually quite interesting doing some research that you produce 4 different bottlings of Fiano di Avellino. So practically you make a regular, Fiano di Avellino DOCG bottling, then you make 3 single labeled, one being Erminia, the other one Colle dei Cerri, and the 4th one called Alessandra. Now, what is the main, or actually is the main distinction between one another, given maybe by the actual rootstock of the vines, or the clone/biotype selection that you use, or is it more, or are they more the product of a zoning?
Okay. I think that both play an important role. With a lot of patience, it's possible to get a very high variety both in the vineyards and in the winery. So I think it is possible to obtain a very different result in terms of final product. This is certainly one of the aspects that I am most passionate and winemaker. In order to do this, it's necessary to study very deeply the territory and to have the possibility to isolate crews, to parcel out and keep reserves. And sure, it does take a lot of effort.
I can imagine. So what are the names of the wines? Are they dedicated to somebody specifically? Is there a meaning behind? I assume there is.
The name of the wine is related to family. Okay, the passion is related all to the family, and the name is the name of my son, of my daughter, and my sister, and only Colle dei Cerri is a specific name related to the typical plants of the territory.
I see. Yeah. So, yeah, makes sense. So now you gave me, when I was when we met in Verona anyway, you gave me a bottle of your Fiano di Avellino, the DOCG. It was the 2019. I remember because I brought it back and then eventually I opened it. And I feel like I was really fortunate to taste the wine, and I found the bottle to be truly inspirational. And I do suggest everybody, if you have the opportunity to put your hands on one of Roberto's bottles. And again, I haven't had much experience personally, but that one bottle truly opened my eyes and my taste buds and my mind to what is the incredible potential of, in that case, Fiano di Avellino, but I'm sure it's true also for Greco and Aglianico that you produce, because I felt there was so much, the level of complexity and the mouthfeel of the wine was just explosive. I was truly wowed by it. But at the same time, I found quite a bit of a, balance with the elegance. The wine is truly, truly magical. So, as a winemaker, I know it's probably not an easy question to answer, or probably very easy on your end, but how do you accomplish that? To have both great complexity, mouthfeel, incredible longevity, and at the same time, elegance and finesse.
Oh, sure. Thank you. And I think this complexity is obtained probably in many ways. First, having a deep knowledge of my wine arts, and as I said before, the soils. This allows me to make the favorite harvest according to the vintage, to the yields, and to the product I want to obtain, especially to wines to be aged for a long time. I also make an ample use of the fine lees and mousse in order to preserve, protect, and exalt varietal aromas, thus obtaining at the same time fatness, balance, and thickness in wines. This is my passion, okay, to produce, especially in white wine, and aging in my production.
Yeah, no, I can, obviously I could tell through the bottle, or taste through the bottle, your the passion for it, and definitely, as you mentioned, there was this level of viscosity and richness and fatness, but at the same time, it was also on the other side sapid and fairly clean and salivating. So it wasn't just like sitting on the palate. Yeah, truly a special wine. Sadly enough, your wines are not available here in Massachusetts, but hopefully we can help out with that at some point, and hopefully beyond that. Now, getting into Taurasi. So practically all these areas, they're next door to each other. When it comes to Fiano di Avellino, Greco, and Taurasi, and they actually overlap in parts. Now, in Monte Marano, Taurasi, which is where you're located, in this incredibly high elevation vineyards. I think your vineyards are roughly at 870 meters, and there you produce 2 Taurasi Reservas, which is also quite unique. It seems like you don't make a regular bottling, you just make an Aglianico and then 2 Taurasi Reserva. But most importantly, I discovered that you make the Taurasi called Hamilton, right? So when, and my curiosity is when and how it started, and what does that wine actually mean to you? Why you named it Hamilton?
Okay. I think my brother and I have been working a collectible art calendar since 2002. A project that has evolved a lot over time to become a sort of our own personal commitment to researching and enhancing the stories and tradition that tie Naples to the rest of the world. In 2050, we gave a space to a little known figure, the English ambassador Sir William Hamilton, who lived in Naples for more than 30 years, until the end of 1700s. Sir William Hamilton is the father of modern volcanology, as well as a collector of art and classical antiquities. He contributed with his letters and books to increase the myth of Naples and Campania and make the Vesuvian area a favorite destination of Grand Tour. The calendar was called a Grand Tour around Vesuvius, intended as a photographic guide through the most beautiful place that the Campania region offers. We were so passionate about it that we decided to dedicate a wine to Sir William Hamilton, a wine which would be the ambassador of a piece of Campania history in the world. And what better wine can be an ambassador of the region, if not a Taurasi? The first one to receive the DOCG, not only in Campania, but in the whole south of Italy. So we dedicate Taurasi for Sir William Hamilton. Taurasi is in itself an ambassador and probably a forerunner. Okay, Hamilton Taurasi is produced in limited quantities, about 4,000 bottles, with our Aglianico di Montemarano, and only in the best vintage. Together with Taurasi Riserva Vino Blu, with I co-produced with the Archaeological Museum of Naples. It's a part of the Vini d'Arte line, the two limited edition product that talk about arts and history in my region in Campania.
I love history, and specifically history that is tied into wine and whatnot. It's quite incredible. Sounds like a fantastic project.
Quite amazing reading that you have been the pioneer of aging both Greco and Fiano, trying to showcase the full aging potential of these two varieties. I'm very intrigued by your collection of late releases, Greco and Fianos. Why are you holding back so long?
Territory unexplored in the early 90s, which I was the first to enter, with curiosity, commitment, and even a bit of madness. Let's say it. Keeping in the cellar lots of wine needed to be aged for years required a high level of risk. But I can assure the sacrifice and it's absolutely repaid in terms of the result. Limiting Greco and Fiano for me to the classic expression of vintage wine was a real sacrilege. Believe me, I am the first probably that started this adventure. At this moment, besides Greco di Tuffo, Vittorio 2007, I have on the market 3 vintage Fiano. Alessandra 2012, aged in steel tanks of fine lees. Colle dei Cerri 2007, which ferments and ages for 1 year food and then age for 10 years in steel tanks. And finally, Fiano di Avellino, Erminia, the prototype and the highest limit of my research on Fiano. Fiano di Avellino, Erminia is a wine aged in steel tanks and then in the bottle for many years, produced in a limited numbers of bottles. That currently on market there is the 2003 vintage, a wine dedicated not only in the name to my sister Erminia.
So a more personal question I had. I wanted to know where you studied enology. Maybe because after so much passion I heard from your voice, I might go and sign up for that. But outside of that, who was really an inspirational figure?
Oh, thanks. This is more interesting question. My enological education was initially done very close to home. That is at the Enological Institute of Avellino, a real scientific center of reference in those years. I grew up in a family of agriculture, construction, transportation, and breeding. We already have vineyards in Montemarano and Salza Irpina. And since I was a child, I had a strong interest towards this world rather than other fields managed by my family. I think that there are two inspiring figures along my path. The first one is a farmers who used to manage our wines in Montemarano. Santuccio. The name of this man is Santuccio. When we became friends, he is already an old man, whereas I was just a young boy, very intrigued and fascinated by his figure, by the way he lived in the vineyards, by the way he talked about grapes and wine. In the years to come, having perceived a sincere interest in me, with great passion, he tried to transfer all the peasant knowledge from the vineyards to the cellar, and I keep an affectionate, a real memory of it. Santuccio is a very important history for my life and for my profession. Another important figure of reference was surely Gennaro Martuscello, one of the founders of Grotta del Sole Winery, to whom is owned the merit of having given back prestige to Campania autochthonous wines, and then it recovered two cornerstones of Campania traditional viticulture. When I was just a beginner, he was my teacher in the field, and beside that, we had a sincere and strong friendship. I think that these two men are probably the men that give a most important inspiration in my work, in my job.
Your calendar has been a great work of art and culture, connecting Naples' history to other great world capitals. What city did you select for the 2021, and what ties it to Naples?
The city chosen from this new edition of calendar is Turin. After delving into the ties between Naples and various European capitals since the last year, also due to the pandemic and the consequent difficult to moving, we have returned to Italy to explore the history that links Naples to the Florentine Renaissance. In calendar 2022, on the other hand, the Neapolitan city will dialogue with the Savoy capital of Risorgimento, two cities, both former capitals that have managed to change and react to loss of importance and centrality, always capable to revive different but yet in continuity with their own traditions. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, both of you. That was awesome. So we're going to open up to the floor now if anybody has any questions.
I think we've got Jacopo and Lan, and we've got a lot of Italian wine ambassadors here in the room as well. So please take the opportunity to ask the questions. Ciao, Lan.
Hey, Laika. Ciao, Ciro. Ciao, Roberto. And I've got one question for Roberto, actually, about the wine styles. So, I don't know whether Roberto has plans to expand his territory into other regions of Italy, because like now everybody is talking about the trendy regions such as Etna. And have you ever thought about expanding into other regions of Italy for planting other native grape varieties, or you want just to keep your focus in the Campania region?
Only autochthonous wine, not from Etna.
I guess Roberto is a campanilista. He'll stick with with Irpinia. Yeah, which makes sense. But yeah, no, I think in the case of Roberto, the question you asked, some producers do that. They migrate to other areas. Although it's mostly, I think, north and south, from what I see anyway, the commercial side. I think from south migrating to north is not so much common.
All right, so if we have no more questions, if there's anybody else, speak now or forever hold your peace, because I will go ahead and thank Ciro and Roberto for this amazing interview. And Stevie, I don't know if you're still there. Come back. I hope everything is great over there in New York. And from Laika and I, we wish you the best. Thank you for the interview, and thank you everyone for listening. Of course, we'll be back next Thursday. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Bye, guys. Bye.
Listen to the Italian Wine Podcast wherever you get your podcasts. We're on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Himalaya FM, and more. Don't forget to subscribe and rate the show. If you enjoy listening, please consider donating through ItalianWinePodcast.com. Any amount helps cover equipment, production, and publication costs. Until next time, cin cin.